it's Kai Pancho with a weekly Pele report for June 24th of 2026, and I'm starting up at the house, and I'm going to hike down to the river. First of all, it's a lot steeper than I thought. I'm going to time myself and see how long it takes to get down to the freaking river from here. I thought it was I thought I was hanging over the river, but I'm not. And anyway, yeah, this is an astrology report, and there is so much astrology going on. It's phenomenal, you guys. I don't know how I'm going to pack this all into one report because it's crazy, right? The moon's in Scorpio now, okay, and it starts out, opposing Chiron, trining the sun, squaring Pluto. Then by Friday, it goes into Sag, okay, and then by Monday, it goes into Capricorn. And we will have the full moon at 8 degrees, 14 minutes of Capricorn. You can see it in the charts, in the chart at the beginning of the call, of the video here. You should maybe take a screenshot of that chart or draw up that chart, because all of these aspects are in that chart, and it's just absolutely phenomenal. Let me start out with tomorrow, Thursday, Sun squares Neptune, okay, and Venus trines Saturn. That's all tomorrow happening. So that's big by itself. And then on Sunday, Mars goes into Gemini, and as soon as it goes into Gemini, it's going to be conjunct with Uranus, okay, and Sedna's over there, right? And so then we've got that going on. That's exact July 3rd. So I'll be talking about that next week. But by Monday, then that Mars is exactly square the moon's nodes, which is really big. So we have a Mars-Uranus conjunction squaring the moon's nodes. I mean, I could give like a workshop on that one, not just a Pele report. Holy cow. Look at, I gotta make some, make this trail better, man, because I want to make it, level so you can walk on it. To keep going then, right? Monday, besides Mars, Uranus squaring the moon's nodes, Jupiter goes into Leo. After a year in Cancer, we get Jupiter going into Leo, right? And if that's not enough, Mercury stations to go retrograde that same day. I mean, Monday is a big freaking day. Mercury is basically conjunct Jupiter. It's at 26. Jupiter's at 29. That's only 3 degrees. And then it says, rather than actually catch up to Jupiter and talk to Jupiter, I'm going to be snobby and turn around and go back into Cancer for 3 weeks, right? So we can talk about that one going on, and then the full moon. That full moon is on Monday too. So it's just like, wow, so much happening. Let me get down to the water. I don't know if you can see it down there. It is down there. That is the river down there. I'm zooming in a little bit here, and I will get down there. Talk to you soon. All right, you guys, I'm not going all the way down to the river, man. Do you see any shade down there at all? Okay, it's like 12 o'clock noon. Those rocks, you could fry an egg on those rocks. So I hope you can see there's some rapids there. See that? Oh, geez, where to start? I mean, I'm going to try to wrap this up at the end. I try to wrap it up with the mantra. I don't quite wrap it all up with the mantra because there's a lot of divergent energies going on. I mean, this is kind of a wrap up. It's just like, you know what? There's like a pull here and a push there and a surprise over there. And like stuff is going, it's popping like popcorn. Okay, you know, this week, and it's intense. Moon's in Scorpio, right? You know, and moving up through Sag and Capricorn. These are the social signs. Okay, Scorpio, Sag, Capricorn is society, external authority, forces beyond our control. You know, government bureaucracies, partners, business partners. You know, there's a lot. You know, also pressure happening with us. And of course, that full moon in Capricorn, you know, that is what? Well, it's the security axis, okay? Capricorn is physical, financial security. Cancer is, you know, emotional security, domestic life, and my inner world feeling safe and protected. You know, and, you know, this is going to like really trigger. This is a week of, you know, and this full moon will trigger our insecurities. And some of those insecurities, I've got some insecurities because I have to deal with the county and the government. Right? I mean, it's freaking spooky and scary, right? This coming to terms with external authority is Capricorn, and you know, and kind of wanting to hide out, you know, like the crab, you know, goes down in its hole. You know, that sun in Cancer this next month is like, I kind of want to, okay, but as much as I would like to withdraw, go inward, you know, chill out, feel my feelings, and, you know, be there, no, I'm getting pulled out. You know, Jupiter in Leo, Mars, Uranus in Gemini, Venus in Leo, things are... So there's this kind of tug of war that can be happening here a little bit. You know, should I just stay home or should I actually go out and deal with this? Or should I, you know, talk to these people and be online and do all this social stuff? Or do I want to hibernate and keep my mouth closed? So there's this whole kind of back and forth energy happening. And yeah, I mean, if we look at it, I'll just go through each one of the planets real quickly. You know, starting with Pluto. Okay, Pluto is, you know, up there in Aquarius, you know, for 20 years, since 2023. And this is about waking up. This is about bringing in the age of Aquarius. This is about opening the third eye. This is about stepping outside, okay, of our ego and our daily reality to open up to the witness, the observer, the Buddha within. So there is a great awakening happening, and that calls for extreme amounts of objectivity, not subjectivity, not my interpersonal stuff. Aquarius is in conjunct Cancer. Cancer is very subjective, personal, and inward, but we're evolving this higher observer self beyond our emotions and feelings. So, I mean, that right there puts a little bit of a tweak on what's going on this month, right? Then we've got Neptune, 14 years in Aries, starting this year. Neptune spiritualizes Aries, our instincts, our passions, our desires, our impulses. So it's time to like really open. Neptune's the crown chakra. And it's time to like really start sensing, becoming more sensitive to the subtle energies, right? You know, and kind of even spiritualize our most basic instincts, our sexual instincts, Mars, okay, these lower chakras. It's like really, you know, it's time to like really raise up that energy. So Pluto and Neptune in sextile are both kind of pulling us, you know, a little bit like Time to wake up and arise. Arise. And then Uranus comes around. Okay, it just went into Gemini for 7 years in Gemini. But now Mars is there and it's square the moon's nodes. Okay, for at least another, few weeks. Okay. And then Uranus is going to go retrograde, and then it's going to come back and square the nodes again. So I don't know. Uranus is really square the nodes for, a month. Uranus are unconscious. So we've got left brain, linear, logical, rational, everyday thinking, consciousness. It's our ego. And then we've got the bottom of the iceberg. We've got Uranus. 90% of our consciousness is unconsciousness. And it is that spiritual aspect of ourselves, the Akashic record that's lived through many, 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 many lifetimes. And Uranus rules the process of individuation. I am a unique individual soul. And I need to liberate and free myself and rebel against the norm and the ordinary and the conventional. And I gotta be free, baby. Mars hits that, but it's unconscious. So a lot of times this happens, okay? It's not like a feeling that I feel. No. It's a surprise, an accident, a shock, an upheaval that pulls us like a plant getting replanted, guess what? It's time for you to individualize. You don't need that relationship. You don't need that job. Surprise, you're fired. Surprise, you're gone. You need to slow down. Boom, surprise, you're in a hospital. I mean, it's just so Uranus rules unpredictable events. And when Mars comes around to Uranus, I will say, and I join all the other astrologers saying it's time to be cautious. It's time to be careful. Mars-Uranus is particularly electrical, in nature. Motors, machines, electronics, shocking you, messing you up, blowing up on you. It's time where you can be impulsive, and your nervous system reacts or overreacts. So it is time, it's time to bring in that mantra from last week about chilling out. With all the popcorn popping and the shit hitting the fan, I want to encourage you to still breathe. And you got this, and we can do this, but there's going to be surprises. There's going to be overwhelm, too much, too fast, too crazy, too wild. We're going to want to withdraw, but we can't withdraw. This is a crazy week, and it's going to fall into next week too. So, whoa, to everything there is a season. Turn, turn, turn. I mean, I look at last week's mantra where I say, oh yeah, sit still, relax, breathe, blah, 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 blah. And this week is oh, well, no, I got to gather all the ingredients for my cake, and I got this to do, and that to do, and the other thing to do, and blah, blah, blah. So this is probably the other thing is be flexible. We need to remain flexibility. Uranus can be very rigid. Aquarius, Leo is a fixed axis. Aquarius, is ruled by Uranus. Yeah, and Uranus was a tyrant. He was very fixed, very stubborn. My way or the highway. Ugh. So when Mars-Uranus comes around, you need to do your yoga. You need to do your shoulder rolls, and stuff, and keep it a little more chill, baby. And speaking of chill, we can give thanks to Saturn and Aries. Saturn and Aries is putting a little bit of a calm, slow down, be cautious. It's, it's deliberate action. So yeah, it's very nice. And this Venus trine Saturn, okay, tomorrow is like, really sweet to have that. Yeah. Okay. Now we know Chiron just went into, Taurus, and I was going to do a whole thing on Chiron and Taurus because, we're dealing with scarcity consciousness. And this is something that can cause anxiety, overreaction, a lot of worry, and a lot of like, I got to adjust this and stop doing that and keep doing that. We're going to be dealing with scarcity consciousness for quite some time. And that actually brings me up to the Sabian symbol. Let's look at the Sabian symbol once. So we're overcoming this sense of scarcity, and we only do that through a real trust, faith, and connection to the Mother, to the Father, Mother Earth, Father Sky, to the future, to Spirit in general, that we are connected to Spirit, and as part of that matrix, as part of that woven tapestry of life, we're not going to fall out through the cracks. We're woven into life, okay? And it's going to be okay. I love, okay, the Sabian symbol for this full moon. It is the 8th degree, no, it's the 10th degree of Capricorn, right? No. 8 degrees, 14 minutes, it's the 9th degree of Capricorn. An angel carrying a harp. The revelation of the spiritual meaning and purpose at the core of any life situation. Uranus, the unconscious, right? Our soul. There are no accidents in astrology. There is only the spirit and the soul that are both unconscious to the ego, that surprise the ego and reveal a deeper meaning. This picture simply says that, in quotes, heaven is within us. All we have to do is to be open and listen to the total harmony of life. A harmony in which we play a part that is necessary to the completeness and meaning of the whole. In order to do this, we have to surrender our separate ego consciousness and flow with the universal current, which, to the religiously minded person, is the will of God. The technique it implies here is one of attunement to the rhythm of universal life. Angels are to be considered personalizations of various aspects of this life and totally subservient to its rhythms and purposes. Isn't that just beautiful? There are no frickin' accidents. There's just surprises to our separative ego consciousness. Because indeed we are all one, at one level, grasshopper. Let me keep going. So this Jupiter goes into Leo. Oh, poor Dios, it's going to be there for a year until August of 27. Yes! Expansion, opportunity, abundance, prosperity. Through what? Play. Recreation. Being an agent of life, allowing the energy, the fire, the enthusiasm, the inspiration of life to be operating through us. We are secret agents, you know. And we don't have to be secret anymore. Leo is like out in your face, you know. Like, yeah, Boom, I'm shining like the sun. You're a shining star no matter who you are. Shining bright to see what you can truly be. This is so amazing, so wonderful, so beautiful. You know, Jupiter is the ruler of Sag, another fire sign. So in ways, it's a fiery planet. It's coming into a fiery sign. It's coming out of introverted, feeling emotional in the past. Cancer for the last year. Hopefully we've got our domestic life together, our inner world together, our emotional, and now we are ready to create, maybe procreate. Love affairs, playfulness, joy. Just start a new business, start a new this, start a new that. Express yourself. Ow. Yeah. And then what? Mercury goes retrograde in Cancer. Like, what about that? Cut it out. Retrograde, okay, is reflect, okay, redo, reorganize, go out in your garage or your bedroom or your kitchen and straighten it up. And so it's weird that, Jupiter is like, yeah, let's go. Mars in Gemini is, yeah, let's go. Sun and Mercury in Cancer are saying, let's stay put, let's stay right here. I want to sit at home. I mean, the best thing I think you can be doing right now is remodeling your home. Recreating, right, expressing yourself through your freaking home. That's what I'm going to be doing. But anyway, so you can get this, and Saturn in Aries, is not really outgoing either. It's kind of, holding us back. So here's Venus and Jupiter and Leo saying, go for it. And the full moon saying, like, yeah, make it happen. And Mars and Uranus, go. And, and Chiron in Taurus says, I don't have enough money. Right. Saturn in Aries says, I am restricted, I can't just do anything I want. So there is this So I tried to pull it together a little bit here with this mantra, right? What does it say again? I'm gathering all the ingredients to bake a fabulous cake. I don't want to get lost, distracted, or scattered. So I'll start now rather than wait. The idea that I'm trying to put across here, okay, is that, Mars, Uranus, and Gemini is curious, learning new things, gathering new information, okay, for our Jupiter and Leo creation. So the cake is like Jupiter and Leo. The ingredients is Mars and Gemini going, well, I need this and da. And baking a cake is Cancer, in the kitchen baking, right? So it's only an analogy, but it can be for, that cake can be your business. That cake can be your website. That cake can be your relationship. That cake can be your family. It's like, there's all different, ingredients. We need all these different things. I always say, like, a relationship is like a fire, and if you just sit around the fire, it goes out. You've got to go gather firewood, right? So you need to leave that relationship, get a job, or get out of town, or go to your own workshop or something else, and bring some new wood back to the fire if you want that relationship to last, right? So, you can't just feed off of another person for your entire existence. Oh, speaking of which, that brings me up to the song for this week, right? The song is The Game of Love. The Game of Love. And I didn't know the name of it was The Game of Love. All I remember is a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It started with a kiss, and now we're up to bat. A little bit of laughs, a little bit of pain. I'm telling you, my babe, it's all in the game of love. You know that one? It's Michelle somebody, but she is playing with Santana. It's an old song. But I just thought, Gemini is a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And then, yeah, the love comes in later. But hey, what the heck? Venus and Jupiter both in Leo. Leo's a romantic love sign anyway, right? So, but where was I? I was with the mantra, right? So we gather these ingredients. But with Mars Uranus, there may be like surprises or upsets or like, things can go crazy. So what we want to do is, in some way, shape, and form, and it's really good, the full moon in Capricorn, she's there for 2.5 days. And even in Sag and Scorpio, we're in this phase of the moon right now where we can, control and direct and focus on getting these ingredients, and not go, oh, well, I'm on my way to the hardware store. Maybe I should stop and get this and this and this and this at the food store. And while I'm out, and then by the time I get to the hardware store, it's closed. Or, you know what I mean? Like, so it is about trying not to, it's weird because on the one hand, we have to stay flexible in case a curveball comes at us and we get a surprise. On the other hand, we do want to maintain some control and some focus in terms of the end goal or the end game, or like, I have this list of ingredients I need for my cake and I want to get all these ingredients. I'm not skimping on the old family recipe here. So I am going to like complete my chores. I am going to fulfill my commitments. I am going to make that cake, and I'm not going to get too scattered or distracted. And then the last line, was, also just about putting things off, procrastinating. Cancer can be a little bit of a procrastinator. The water signs, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer, they can at times just kind of like, I don't feel like it right now. Maybe later, maybe tomorrow. I'll make a cake tomorrow. I'll make a cake tomorrow. I'll make a cake tomorrow. Let's, what we want to do is we want to stay ahead of the curve. Yeah? Stay ahead of the ball. Stay ahead of the game. Don't think that, it's like it's all busy now. I'm going to wait until things calm down to get my stuff done or to do this, that, or the other thing. That's not going to work, folks. Things are not going to be slowing down, man. Mars is in Gemini for a couple of months. Okay. Even Mercury in Cancer. Retrograde Mercury is what? Rebel. Revolt. Tap into my feelings, which are constantly changing, right? And talk about and express my changeable moods, my changeable needs, my inner child, my da-da-da-da. Yeah. So there's nothing... Mercury in Cancer can talk and talk and talk and go on and on and on about their feelings, in their past and their inner world and their home life and their, whatever. But, so it's not like even, retrograde Mercury doesn't mean our brain is slowing down, or life is slowing down. Retrograde, don't confuse retrograde with like reverse or like unintelligent or not thinking or a slow brain or something. That absolutely not. So Jupiter and Venus in Leo, Mars in Gemini, Mercury in the Sun in this is a lot happening. July and August is going to be a lot happening, okay? And the squares to the moon's nodes is a must. We must do Mars, Uranus in order to evolve to the cusp of Aquarius Pisces, which is enlightenment. To achieve enlightenment, to achieve liberation, we must liberate ourselves. We must break free. Uranus is the future, breaking free from the past. And Mars is actively. And Gemini is attitude. We must actively change our attitude. And change our, Gemini is our daily life, our daily reality. So it's like, yeah, let go of the habits, let go of the old ways, let go of the old patterns, let go of the old, it's just like, embrace change. Again, my favorite, you are either a force of change or you are forced to change. You are either an inspiration, a leader, an initiate, or you are a victim, a martyr, and a loser. And you can, it's all in your willingness to embrace and evolve through change. The only security, the only stable, the only predictable element of life is change. Ouch! Cancer and Capricorn go, oh! One more time with the mantra, baby. I'm out of here. I'm gathering all the ingredients to bake a fabulous cake. I don't want to get lost, distracted, or scattered, so I'll start now rather than wait. I'm going to start uploading the Pele Report right now. Namaste. Aloha. So much love. Ow!